You know I'm right. Episode 100. Nick Durst here with Joe Calabrese. Joe, I'm very excited about our guests. These are my guys. I really don't want to even let you talk, but I'll let you say something real quick here.
Yeah, I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of talking this episode. But first off, I want to say congratulations. This was your baby, and you wanted me involved with it. And I think we've come a long way. I think we've had a lot of tremendous guests. But without further ado, I'm going to let you lead in your guys here.
Yes.
We got the three DAZN Musketeers, and I'm just going to be sitting back here, and I'm going to let you guys do all the talking. And hopefully, you don't have to chime in as much.
So our two guests today, you cannot catch them Monday through Friday during the LB season from 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. They will not be doing ChangeUp off DAZN. But we have the Virk horse back with us, who was on the first episode. Adnan Virk, you know him from the Cinephile and GM Shuffle pods. He does Yahoo Sports Canada with his guy from the Steelers, MLB Network, NHL Network, and whatever else he could do. He's doing radio hits left and right all day. So we're glad that he's taking some time for us here today. And then we have Rags, Scott Rogowsky. You might have known him from Perfunk, which was one of his great drinks things there. He's a good buddy with Regis because the crowd goes wild when Scott's there. You may have seen his work in Playboy. Where do you fall for that at ABC? HQ Trivia across The Onion. And you may have seen his ISO late night with many technical difficulties. So to tribute to that, he might be trying to freeze on us during this episode. Guys, welcome to the show, episode 100. Thanks for joining me. And Joe.
Of course, Fred, what an introduction first off. Good to be with both you and Joe. Love the podcast. Love the frequent mentions I get when I'm not even involved, whether it's with Mariotti or Michelle Margot. So congrats to you guys. Seriously, 100 episodes is remarkable in this day and world. I don't know who the hell is listening, but to whoever is listening, congrats to you, support to you. A century is a milestone. Rags was in Playboy? I thought it was in Playgirl. Scott, I didn't know this.
Playboy, the website. Let's put it that way. The YouTube channel.
I just read it for the articles. But yeah.
It was safe for work Playboy. Fellas, the only thing that's missing right now is little Giovanni's. We need to get that. Where's that chicken parm sauce?
We're looking for sponsors. So, and Joe's a big fan of chicken parm with the vodka sauce. Joe's the only guy in Secaucus these days. But you guys had great chemistry. Always at the Say Hey Cafe together, share it in office. But we got to address first Joe Lucia, this awful writer for awful announcing, once said, I feel like the seeds of chemistry are budding between him and Virk, him as Scott Rogowsky, but still haven't bloomed yet, while Gardner and Luffman are firing on all cylinders. But I know, Scott, you were very upset when you saw that review, but Lucia obviously had no idea what was going on in that studio.
The bloom is off the rose. I guess we didn't have enough Miracle Grow, not enough nitrogen in the soil there. What do you think?
Fred, I will quibble. First off, Scott couldn't care less. He laughed about that. Everybody else was more upset on Scott's behalf. I remember getting text messages like, hey, have you talked to Scott? Is he okay? I'm like, are you kidding? He's a comedian. Rags couldn't care less. You want to come at him? He deals with hecklers for a living. I go, this is like, oxygen for him. He's going to if Joe Lucia's going to fire him up even more. He literally could not have cared less.
I just love that you were killing Lucia's Twitter picture. Him with like Lamar Jackson jersey with wings out. Unbelievable. Just like a joke.
It's awful announcing. That's what it's called, right? I mean, awful blogging, awful announcing.
Right.
That's what we should create an awful blogging website. Maybe that's the only way to get back at it.
You can write about him. I mean, that's great. Scott, I saw you had your 2-year anniversary of joining DAZN on LinkedIn the other day. Are you surprised that ChangeUp actually lasted longer than Quibi?
Is that technically true? I guess it might be. I mean,
Jeffrey Katzenberg, we beat him. Right.
Look, I kept making the point with the DAZN paying $300 million.
All right, should have signed Bryce Harper
for 3 years. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it a little more. Like, we could have pretty much fielded our own team. we could have built an expansion team, and try to compete. Like, did you see that documentary about the Portland baseball team back in the 70s? That was on Netflix. Did you see this one?
I haven't seen it. No, tell me.
It was like a semi-pro weird. Did you see it, Nick?
I didn't see it.
I forget what it's called, but it was about this like businessman in the 70s in Portland, Oregon, created like this semi-pro team. It was almost like a Bad News Bears kind of thing. We really could have signed, Matt Wieters, Brian Mattis. We probably get on the whole 2010 Orioles team for $300 million easily.
Brian Roberts.
Well, Scott,
Miguel Tejada at 47.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing. I was going to say, if we just sign our guys, like I'm like, hey, Rex, I want to sign Todd Stottlemyre. Like, go ahead, go for it. Like, I'm going to get
Rowdy
Andy
Tellez.
Chavez. Sure,
Rowdy
no problem.
Tellez
Whatever you
would have
want.
came over. I mean, Scott, speaking of the Orioles, if Chris Davis gets off to a slow start this year, should the Orioles put him in a team store and make him work to 1,000 fans?
We're not doing that.
No,
we're not doing that.
We're not
No,
doing
we're not doing that. And you had a front row seat for that when Billy Rip, who has a great baseball card, which I'm sure Scott has flipped these days, he just totally shut down Rogowsky. And then Scott tries to truce with a matzah. He's like, I don't like matzah. And then the cutoff man, he's gone. Well, that became a running segment, but what do you remember about that great time in MLB Network history at a high point for the zone?
No, we're not doing that. No, we're not going to do that. No, we're not doing that.
Break up a piece of that?
No, he's not going to.
No,
We're not doing that.
No,
We're not doing that.
All right.
We're not
Breakfast of Champions.
On that note, thank you, Bill. Appreciate
Cut
it.
off, man.
You'll see Bill Ripken.
He's out.
You'll see MLB tonight.
Well, as you know, Fred, I mean, I embrace imperfection. So anytime that anyone's being humiliated, even myself, I think it's high comedy. And Rags is the same way. And so Scott, naturally, is a comedian. He's funny. The whole purpose of the show was to be irreverent. So the purpose of the show was not to ask Bill, well, how can Chris Davis, alter his swing? The point was, let's make jokes, have fun. And so Scott, with tongue firmly in cheek, said, what do you think? They got to get some high for him. What about putting him in the team store? And immediately Bill was aghast by this suggestion that you would just be punishing a Major League Baseball player who is trying valiantly to hit. He goes, no, we're not doing that. And just
Move some jerseys. Let's move some units.
Scott said, we've got to get some value out of this year. Like, at least if he's available, that sell jersey. You know what? I normally wouldn't buy a jersey, but if Chris Davis is selling them, maybe get an autograph. Okay, fine. There's another $50. That's good. And Bill just completely, she goes, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And thankfully, we switched into a different topic. But Anthony Jimenez, who's one of the great creative forces we ever worked with, said, we'll make this a segment. Anytime there was something which raised the ire or displeasure of someone, we would pull that clip. They zoomed in on Scott's forlorn face, like a child being denied an autograph, black and white, a little bit of music. It became a great segment. No, we're not.
And that's how Adnan earned that's how Adnan and Scott earned their nicknames of the baseball bullies.
This is becoming. You're the Walter Isaacson of ChangeUp. Like you're going to be our official biographer now.
I'm not an MLB insider, but I'm an MLB Network insider, apparently.
Oh, absolutely.
They have a lasting legacy because they never used to use that studio room back there until they started using that room for the show.
Right.
And now that they actually use that room since the pandemic started, network has used that room sparingly. Obviously, things are starting to change now that things are starting to open up and more people are starting to come to the office.
You're totally right, Joe. Hot Stove is in Studio K. Whenever I fill in on intentional talk in Studio K, every time I go in there and I have it, I sit in the chair where I normally would sit with Rags. And they go, no, you're in the other chair. I go, no, that's Scott's chair. They go, well, today, do you mind? I go, okay, fine. And a deference to Scott, I'll do it today. But I just, it's always a little odd. And by the way, Rags, it's always the same directors. It's Dooley, it's all our same crew, Coop, all those guys. So I always feel like I'm still there. Scott's presence is still very much in the building.
I do feel phantom pain sometimes. That's what it is. You're sitting on my spirit. Is that what it is? You're squashing me?
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Spiritless
I mean,
guy.
the office has to be pretty lonely at it. It's basically you and Tracy Morgan's The Zone jacket.
Well, thankfully, LG Red is also in the office, but yes.
And you don't work the same hours.
That garish wardrobe of DAZN is still there. The yellow, there's a gray one as well, silver and
The
black.
Bat Flip Boss trophy.
The good news is Rags a lot of his stuff there for a while, so I still had this image like a long lost lover.
Right.
He would still show up, and we would reunite and reconcile.
His baseball card is still in Studio 42, right?
Right. Once he actually threw out all that just gigantic set of papers, which he was doing to taunt the company to prove how wasteful we were.
Yeah, we got to speak about the papers. I mean,
yes.
One of the all-time great moments of the show when it was so funny. You guys are doing like a Yankees Angels highlight, and then Adnan's reading the highlight, the shot list, and the runner comes in to hand him another piece of paper, and he's like, "I'll take that." Yeah, in the middle of it, and then they just kept sending out more and more papers, and that's when Scott did his epic "This is our planet" rant.
Every day I'm reading about another climate tragedy, another horror, environmental disaster, And, the sea levels are rising. They're eroding the beaches in North Carolina. The plastic's not even being recycled. Less than all 10% of plastic has ever been recycled, by the way. Most of it's getting sent to Indonesia and ending up in the streets there. And my small part, in my little small corner of the world, my small patch of Secaucus even, just the stack of papers, the amount of, 17 trees are killed for every 1 ton of paper. And there must have been at least 3 tons of paper used during our season of ChangeUp. That's an entire meadow. That's Bambi's playground. That's this is valuable habitat, Adnan, that was destroyed. So we can mention, that Dexter Fowler took second.
The worst part, Rags, was this. It's one thing if the paper, and listen, this was an issue at ESPN, it was an issue at TSN, there's always way too much paper being used, and Scott's right. But the problem was this, there'd be a third sheet printed, which would literally just have the heading, so it would say situation result, and there'd be nothing else. And Scott, go listen, if you want to print multiple copies for me and Adnan, even though we can clearly just hand it to each other, fine. But that's like printing an essay, and then the last page just a blank piece of paper. We don't need to do this. It's okay.
Just a page number. There's just a page number on it.
It's just a total waste.
This page left intentionally blank to frustrate Rogowsky.
Yeah, it was wild stuff. Adnan, quick question here: would you rather be Paul DeJong or DJ Pauly D?
I think DJ Pauly D, because that guy's an absolute animal. I mean, Joe is definitely a fan. I'm playing to Joe's fan base here. Okay.
He gave us what a shout out, and he gave us not only a retweet, but he gave us an Instagram story share,
Yes.
and I never expected.
DJ Pauly D, huge fan of I'm right.
Fuck you, that fan of the show.
That was a great segment, but we were lucky I was able to tweet that out, because remember, there were some times where I was on a strict 0 tweet per night limit because of a big fight, and we had to do a segment who's better on tweeting, Alex Bregman or Nick Durst,
about the amount of tweets that he was allowed to send out. He would text me in the middle of the night, in the middle of when you guys were working, and he would be like, "Oh, I'm on my 3rd tweet. Oh, I only got 1 more to go. We only have 5 games left."
To be fair, Durst, you were coming off TJ surgery. They had you on a strict tweet count.
Yeah.
A character count, and we didn't even ease you back into it.
Wanted to watch the arthritis. I get it.
Yeah.
And then after I left, because Ak and Barack had an Instagram, you guys finally got an Instagram account.
I go by the name of Ak.
And I'm Barack the Boxing Bully.
And that made a lot of sense.
Man. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that, so look, Durst, you're coming into this. I appreciate the enthusiasm you're bringing here, but I think we're maybe going over the heads of some people listening. Maybe we should take a step back,
Full
zoom
inside
out a
baseball.
little bit. Maybe we should set I don't know. I realized that we had 8.5 million people watch every night. Was that what it was?
I think it was 8.2, but sure, among friends,
8.2 on average.
Yeah.
And you had a huge fan in Canada who couldn't even get the show, that girl Amanda, who would tweet you guys every 10 seconds.
But maybe we should just step back and explain what we're talking about here and how we all know each other.
It was
ChangeUp.
Changing up the game, changing the way you watch baseball.
ChangeUp on the Zone. If anybody listening has heard of this, please tweet us or email me, as I would generally say during those. I gave out my email address on air several times in the hopes, I thought, listen, we're asking people to tweet us. We're not getting any tweets. Maybe not everyone has Twitter, to be fair.
Right.
So we all have email. You can't not. I sent my email there, and still no emails coming. But I got a few emails one night. I 1 or 2 or 3.
Cease and desist email you got from Logan, the executive producer.
Skipper was emailing me. What the hell are you doing? Man, it was we tried it. Just a capsule synopsis here. It was a baseball show, a live whip around show on a new network called The Zone, an OTT service, $20 a month, great deal. $20 a month to catch what you can pretty much watch on MLB Network, quick pitch. But you got me and Adnan and Tony and Lauren, the chemistry with Tony and Lauren, and
Don't forget the
and Nick Durst
guys.
and Nick
Cespedes.
and the Cespedes
Chuck's
guys.
a
And
huge
Nick.
Cespedes guy.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Jake and Jordan, they were the real marquees on the weekend. But Nick, you were the social media coordinator, and for this show, for the first 4 months, we didn't have a Twitter account.
Nope.
We didn't have an Instagram account ever. Did we ever get an Instagram account?
I think you had one like at the All-Star break, you guys.
Yeah, the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Fred's right.
So good halfway through the season before we even had any social media presence. But yet you were there, I guess, tweeting into the oblivion
tweeting on the ChangeUp under the zone _USA, and make sure you use the hashtag ChangeUp on the zone. Every single tweet.
They even had limits, Fred. They would tell you not just the limits. They'd say, okay, include an emoji in every tweet. And
emoji had to be there.
What the hell's it? You know what? This emoji's really going to gain some traction here.
Well, I mean, it works sometimes because they don't want to. Instead of doing like the person at the beginning, you got to do with the emoji. Then we do Adnan Virk says Buffalo mac and cheese is horrendous. Get some viral clips there. But I mean, a lot of the show is being watched through social media, except for Joe Rivera, who was locked in, watching every single segment, tweeting you guys throughout the show. He was the #1 fan, I think.
But that's just it. We would have had more viewers had we just used our phones and live streamed it to Instagram, to our Instagram accounts between you and me.
Well, that's it, because the other social media guys would get upset because they would, I'd retweet. They go, "Why isn't Scott retweeting it?" And I would say, "Well, why is it on Scott's onus to just get any sort of public? If we're just relying on our Twitter account for anyone to watch this, then Rags is right. We should have just been streaming it the whole time."
Yeah, it's crazy. I think eventually Scott's going to launch a new show called Curveball off the zone and run it his way. Maybe it'll go on his YouTube page. It has potential, but it's a real shame the pandemic screwed things over. And
yes, R.I.P. R.I.P. The force majeure league.
Listen, we did have some great segments though, Fred. Like for anybody who was watching, Sincerely Yours was the brainchild of Scott, which was as an avid baseball card collector. He re-burnished my love of cards. So I bought all my cards. My God, what is this worth? And he told me basically nothing. You can't even get a pit for this crap. This is all from the 90s. I got all the 91 Donruss. I got you. This is worthless. 89 Upper Deck, worthless. So what he did is he would write inscriptions to me. It's very generous of him to reach out to players on my behalf and say, "Hey, can you sign a couple of cards for my buddy Adnan?" That segment needs to be brought back somewhere. It was an absolute.
We all know Scott worked the tops, and then 2020 trading cards explodes. I mean, he was hunting down Austin Riley. He's bidding on Austin Riley card in the middle of the show.
Listen. We're a year too early on this. Had this show been happening now, and in your 89 Upper Deck, I hate to break it to you, but it's probably 3x was when I told you.
Even without the Griffey rookie, it's still
the Griffey rookie. There's still I think there's still a Todd Van Poppel rookie in there that people are rediscovering their love of Todd Van Poppel in the pandemic. But
Scott, you still have that Dan Plesac Toronto Blue Jays jacket, or did you flip that on Quiz Daddy's Closet?
That stays with me. I'm going to be buried in that Brewers.
Plesac loved the show, for the record. Plesac was huge fans of ours. He still asks about Rags.
Super nice guy. But I was actually doing this. Before the whole world got into card flipping and prospecting, we were watching the shows live. We had inside information, Adnan. We'd be getting news alert. Casey Mize in AA just threw a no-hitter. Okay, I'm buying Casey Mize autograph card right now.
Yeah.
I put it at 40, flipped it for 100. Alec Boehm, Ryan Mountcastle. We're hearing about these guys coming up. We got all those stats and everything.
One of the best parts.
I actually made a good return on those.
The one that I used to come in and sneak in and hang out with. What was his name?
Who? Oh, Matthew Orso. Yeah, Orso.
Yeah.
Orso, yeah.
Orso, the guy was just pounding Dunkin' Donuts and McDonald's throughout the show. It's just incredible.
Do a Xena Warrior,
I always had a McDonald's cup next to him when I was always sneaking in.
Yeah.
Good times on the show, but no one will ever know. But audience Skipper came in the studio. I mean, and I think Adnan was like, "What do you like about the show?" He's like, "Oh, everything. Everything is great."
It's like the Lego movie. Everything is awesome. I'm like, "All right, great. Everything is awesome." And I said, "What are the numbers like?" And he told me the numbers, and I said, "Oh man," because we thought this was going to be a tool to attract people. Instead, it's more of retention. I'm like, okay, we're just trying to retain the audience we have rather than go.
I think in April I said you guys should do one show for free on Facebook, and then I think maybe September you did a free show on Twitter, and you tripled the audience retention. So
that's exactly it. I mean, I don't know about you, and you're still there, right? You're still involved. You're hired with MLB, so you're still in the mix, and maybe the absence hasn't struck you the way it has me, but I've had a lot of time to reflect on this whole thing. And look, it was honestly a dream job to get in there. And, all of a sudden my first day, I'm bumping into Pedro Martinez coming out of the men's room. Are you kidding me? This is a Hall of Fame. We got Hall of Fame urinals.
Oh my God. He's so cool. And he's so funny.
Hall of Fame urinals.
No, but
no, amazing. I mean, Smoltz and Millar and Sean Casey and
Dempster.
These guys
are a great guy. Yep.
I remember getting hired And then 2 days later, starting the job, I walk into the production meeting. I sit next to Scott. I text my wife. I'm sitting next to Scott Rogowsky. She freaks out. She's like, I can't believe this. What is he doing there? I said, I have no idea. They didn't tell me who the hosts were. Just walked in the room, and then, we took off. If there's ever a ChangeUp movie, Adnan, who is going to play you in the ChangeUp movie?
Riz Ahmed. He just got nominated for Sound of Metal. I love Riz. He's the first Muslim actor ever nominated for Best Actor. I think he should follow it up by playing me. People used to tell me I look a little like Ben Stiller. Dave Patel, I think, doesn't look like just brown. Like, oh, Dave Patel. I go, no, he doesn't actually look like me. I'll go with Riz Ahmed.
Well, obviously,
Chris Chelios. Well, Rags is right. Chris Chelios is the one that I get all the time. Chris Chelios is a great one.
Scott would obviously play himself, but Scott, if you were to star in somebody else's life movie, who would you play?
Oh boy, if I were going to start in some other person's,
It's not who's playing Scott. It's Rags is playing someone else.
Right.
I kind of, Drew Carey.
the Drew Carey biopic.
He's got to put a lot of weight on. That's terrible.
I feel like a Christian Bale. I had to go on Christian Bale's Vice diet.
There you go. Maybe Jim Carrey.
I don't know. I think if I shave my beard, I probably could pull up Jason Biggs.
That's a good.
I used to get Jason Biggs a lot.
Jason Biggs biopic.
Jason Biggs, definitely.
So I always thought that Scott would be perfect as the Riddler in a Batman movie.
Well, listen, he always made me laugh a lot, and he has a great laugh himself. So the Riddler is actually, and I can see him being psychotic enough to just push the envelope. I think the Riddler is great.
So I just play totally psychotic Riddler, unhinged Riddler.
I love it.
Yeah. And you could buffer and freeze and, just like the old days when you're asking trivia questions. Scott, is it true that you and Wilmer Flores?
Sorry to interrupt, Fred. I gotta get going though, but it was fun seeing you guys. I gotta go pick up my kid from preschool.
Oh no, adding big leaguing us.
Yeah, I'm big. 20 minutes, that's enough. Come on. You guys keep going with Regs. I'll see you soon.
All right, we'll wrap up here. Thanks,
Adnan. The stories you give us.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
We'll cut you on episode 200. I'll be back.
Yeah, I'll see you guys then.
The Virk horse, not Virking so hard today.
So, Scott, I wanted to ask you. I heard a rumor that you and Wilmer Flores dated the same girl, or something along those lines. Is that true?
That's partly true. Partly, perhaps.
Sharing the
dating,
same tears.
I don't know what his. Let's say this: I can't vouch for what his relationship was like with her, but I'm not sure I don't think he wined and dined her at Mama's of Kona. Let's put it that way. I don't think he was.
Yeah, I guess we catch your drift there. But listen, Adnan, big time in us here. He jumps off. You are freezing here, so.
Oh no, my connection's unstable, just like my love life and everything else. Well, Wilmer Flores, I should say, we both, apparently he also cried in bed. That's what I hear.
Oh, wow. just Scott, you've done a lot in your career, but how big of a thrill was it for you to host the CocaCola Mets pregame Facebook live shows?
The Mets Facebook, that was, look, I'm talking to Jacob Rame and AJ Ramos. They gave us all the best players. We had, no, look, that was great. I talked, Todd Frazier was a guest one time. Seth Lugo, it was fun. I mean, I wish, again, I don't know. I just don't know how the economics of all this stuff works. So, like how they promote it, who's watching it. It was tough to do when they wanted to make it interactive, and yet I couldn't really see the questions as they were coming in. And, interactive content like HQ to me is still the pinnacle of live interactive content. And we try to do it on ChangeUp too. ChangeUp was live. The Mets pregame show was live.
All right.
But there needs to be an element of, tapping the screen, answering questions, really interact with the host, the audience to really make that work. So
the only time you guys were really interactive on ChangeUp was when it was a rain delay at Citi Field, and we got word that you guys were live in the stadium. You were just playing to the crowd, and you sang "Meet the Mets."
Those were some of the best times. I was singing the Mets, "Meet the Mets" songs, and to know that you're being seen. I mean, really, it's just about, you have to know that someone's watching. We didn't always get that sense on ChangeUp unless they were broadcasting us at the stadium.
Listen, Scott, I knew you were a star every time I used to sneak in and listen to you talk. I knew you were a star when I saw on the big screen at Nick's wedding, you making the surprise appearance.
Yes.
So very clearly you could do live stuff. Very clearly you could do tape stuff. I want to ask you a serious question though, because I want to know what your end game is, because I think you are really sincerely a funny. You're so funny, great guy. Nick talks about you all the time, as he does about Adnan. Can't stop raving about you. But
that's more Nick's problem. Nick needs to get a life, basically.
I agree.
Joe's always raving about LG Red.
Well, who doesn't? Roja.
Right. She's a star. She's great. But about you, let's shift this back to you. What is ultimately your goal? I mean, do you want to end up maybe having a stand-up career? Do you want to maybe be on television? Because I do think you're genuinely funny, and I think you're very good in a very off-the-cuff way, very unique way. Everybody's got to have a unique sense of humor, and you certainly do. So what would you like to do?
Well, I appreciate that, and it pains me to say this now, but since you brought it up, honestly, my end game is to take your job, kick you off the show, and be co-hosting with Nick over here. So, look, ultimately, it's your fault for bringing it up. I didn't want to have to break it to you this way. But this is your last show. It's 100 shows. It's been fantastic, but you're
episode
gone.
101. Scott's getting the Sklar brothers for us. So.
No, look, man. I mean, I'm just happy to keep exploring the marketplace. I mean, obviously things are changing so much, and it's really unfortunate that ChangeUp got canceled. All the joking aside, we were signed on for. I was supposed to be doing it right now. We were getting ready for our season 3, and unfortunately that went away. But I'm a free agent right now. I'm definitely entertaining some offers, and it's exciting because there is a lot happening in the live interactive space. If the pandemic, while it certainly closed some doors, as they say, God closes some doors, but those open, other doors open. So the ChangeUp door closed, but because of the pandemic, the live interactive space has exploded, and more companies every week, new companies are being formed to do the types of things that HQ was doing. And I mean, look at your podcast. This was probably launched. Was this pre-pandemic? You launched
this? Was launched in last March. So
there you go.
I mean,
we're now at 1 year.
100 episodes. So there's so many new avenues of creativity, and people are getting on board and creating those shows. So it's inspiring to see that, and I'm confident that one of these opportunities I'm looking at right now will come into place. I wish I had some to break. This is why I was sort of putting this off, Nick, because I thought I'd have some news to break, but I don't quite have it yet.
We had to get you on with that, Dan, though. So it was worth getting.
Yeah, it was worth it.
I think you should go on Shark Tank. I mean, I heard you pitch some things to Damon John, so I think you got some great ideas.
I'm living with my mom and dad right now as I prepare to move to LA in a couple of weeks, but we watch Shark Tank every night on CNBC. It's just every night watching at least 3 episodes of Shark Tank, and it's a great show. It really is the kind of thing where you learn. You really, as someone who wants to start a business, maybe you learn how to approach things, how to pitch yourself. I tried to start a business this past year. I definitely should have watched probably more Shark Tank heading into my pitches, because I didn't quite do it the right way, and unfortunately that's also.
I think bring Quiz Daddy's Closet to
like
Shark
a
Tank.
Pandemic show. Like with their families, like for you, it's Shark Tank, and for me, it's a Family Feud. So that just goes to show you the intelligence gap in my house and your house.
I mean, it's hard to say what is actually more intelligent at this point. You're actually learning about surveys. You're learning what average America thinks. I'm learning that Kevin O'Leary is an asshole. That's what I'm learning. No, but I love Damon, man. He's honestly one of my favorite sharks, because he's just. The way he kind of approaches, I love that he's like, listen, I don't know anything about this business. I'm out. Like, I love how honest he is about his own strengths. He's like, you're making a ton of money. I don't know a goddamn thing about it. But no, I mean, it's a great job. Look, I want to be part of something. The fact that Damon got in that show, by the way, his history on that show, I'm sure he's told you the story, Nick. The way he got cast in that, and the whole thing was a total fluke. He told that story when he did My Eyes at Late Night, but. That's the thing. That's the beauty of life. I mean, there was a guy, he was working with the Kardashians. Damon John was like the manager of the Kardashians before they had their show. And he basically left that to do Shark Tank. Either way, he would have done all right, I guess. But it was a fluke. Who knew Shark Tank would be as big as it is now? And that's the thing. I mean, we thought ChangeUp would be the next Shark Tank. So things don't always
work the way. It could have been. If not for the pandemic, ChangeUp and the XFL would still be riding high. No doubt about it.
That's right. XFL, USFL. I mean, when things start, there's a lot of optimism, but ultimately, I'm hoping that the next thing I latch onto could be the next real big thing, and I am pretty confident.
Jeopardy is looking for a new host, so
I haven't heard anything about that. I don't know. I thought Dr. Oz would be hosting.
I'd rather
Aaron
watch you
Rodgers
hosting Jeopardy than some of the people that they've brought in to host Jeopardy. Man, isn't it miserable.
Scott, since you brought it up, I got to ask you. I mean, because there was a lot of optimism when this started off. Kim and Kanye, no more. What's more likely, A-Rod and J-Lo get married, or Kim gets married first to a new person?
I'm thinking Kanye and A-Rod together. I think that's Kanye-Rod. Kanye-Rod. I think it's,
You put Kanye's face on a dragon, and you put A-Rod's face on the centaur, and then you make them kiss. That's what you got to do.
That's beautiful. And then get that tattooed on your back and Ben Affleck.
That's right.
Perfect.
Of course, we got to talk Mets real quick because huge Mets fan. How relieved are you that Steve Cohen is the owner and not A-Rod and J-Lo?
I actually think, had A-Rod and J-Lo got the Mets, maybe they'd still be together. So
right. They would have saved their marriage, I think.
Yeah, I think the Mets broke up. Not only did the Mets break up Chris Benson and his wife, but now they've broken up J-Lo and A-Rod. The Mets are home wreckers, man. I'm honestly, a change of scene was needed. Change of pace was needed. Will Pond's bringing.
ChangeUp wasn't needed though.
What's that?
Sorry, I had to do it.
I missed it.
I said a change-up was.
Oh, no. Our change. Yeah, I guess it wasn't needed ultimately, but Cohen's bringing fresh blood. He's bringing a fresh attitude. I love how active he's been on Twitter until the Reddit trolls kicked him off, shut him down. But he's back on Twitter, and the Bakota rankings have us winning 96 games and taking the division. I don't frankly see that happening. I don't know why they have the Braves winning 82 games.
It doesn't make sense to me. And also, I think the Nationals are going to be good this year again, too. I mean, the abbreviated season was kind of like, I don't know if the Marlins in a full season would have made the playoffs. And I don't know if the Nationals, granted, I don't know if they turn it around like they did 2 years ago when they won, but I think that that short stretch was definitely fluky for a couple of teams. But I do think the Braves and the Mets are the two best teams on paper in the division.
Yeah,
it's coming from a Yankees fan, so that's my unbiased take.
It'll be a battle, man. It'll be a good division for sure. And like you said, the Nats are up there. And the Marlins, was that a fluke? I don't know. I'm just pumped to see Lindor, in a Mets uni. I think he looks good in the orange and blue. And I'm basically considering this could be the last year of DeGrom and Syndergaard together, right? So we have to.
Syndergaard's a free agent after this year.
We got to cherish the season, and
that's why I think they should. I'm disappointed they didn't get Springer because I think they could have been a win the World Series this year team with George Springer. But we'll see what the future holds. They need to sign Lindor though. That's because they gave up two good guys for him.
You know what? Who needs George Springer? Who needs George Springer when you've got Khalil Lee? That's what I say.
The big trade.
I
could have got that intended.
Almora, brings to the table, and Pilar. I think, they're not George Springer level, but Almora, I like what he did in Chicago. I think he's got a lot of talent. I think there's a lot of talent across the board. I mean,
right.
It's a stacked lineup, man.
People forget how great your buddy Brandon Nimmo is. I mean, he's going to lead off, and he's going to score a ton of runs this year.
He's very underrated. He gets on base. He's consistent. He's consistent in what he does, and if he stays healthy, which has always sort of been his issue, I think he could. He's definitely a catalyst. It's crazy to think that Nimmo is like the veteran now. I mean, The guy's this is like his 9th season with the Mets. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've always told Nick I equate Brandon Nimmo, believe it or not, to Brett Gardner. I think they're two very similar types of guys. They do very similar types of things, and winning teams have guys like that. So I like the way he plays. I think he plays really well. I think he's done more than his share to at least earn the opportunity to be one of the 3 outfielders very close every day on that team.
Amen, brother. Amen.
I really appreciate you coming on with us. Thank you for doing this. Adnan, thank you for coming on. But anyway, let us know what the future holds for you. I know you love to do comedy. I know if you continue wanting to do stand-up before you move away to LA, maybe if you find some opportunities to do some shows, Nick and I would love to come and watch you live and to hang out before you make that move. And if you do move to LA, hopefully end up going to the Comedy Store and doing shows out there, because I've been there a couple of times. I have a lot of really close friends out there, and can't tell you enough good things about that place. It's iconic, and that's sort of the mecca, obviously, of comedy. And if you're a comedy guy, I don't know if you've ever seen the show documentary on that place, but it's absolutely tremendous. It's worth the watch. We wish you all the best in the future. You two are very dear friends to Nick. Because you're dear friends to Nick, that makes you friends to me. Not as close, but I know the dynamic between you three is electric.
I'm never going to see Adnan or Scott again in person, so I don't say we're that close.
This is good. I didn't get diagnosed with terminal cancer. I'm not going anywhere, but I feel like this is my eulogy here. Thank you.
No, you're good. You're not going anywhere. You're going to be around for a long time. I got one more question though. And you guys brought this up before, but how does it make you feel that the stars of what you guys did ended up being the Cespedes Barbecue guys? Because they're the ones who really made out Bandits like here at the end.
Well, listen, they were stars before they joined the show. I mean, they had been building up their Twitter following for years and doing stuff on MLB's website, and so they came in with a lot of experience. And for as young as they are, there was no doubt in my mind that they were going to be the breakouts. I don't know how much of what they ChangeUp even led to, they got this podcast now on the Ringer Network, and I honestly don't know if ChangeUp led to any of that. It was really just what they had, the inherent abilities and talents they have, and the writing they do and the blogging they do, and they would have been fine without ChangeUp. And I'm really excited I'm glad to be friends with those guys. I talk to them pretty frequently. We have a nice little text chain going back and forth. Thomas Pannone is our favorite player, and we're always on the Thomas
Pannone and DAZN.
The Thomas Pannone DAZN watch. I tweeted at Tom. I actually got Thomas Pannone to reply to a DM of mine. That was probably one of the highlights of our ChangeUp tenure.
You also DM'd Irvin Santana, but he didn't get back to it.
Smell baseball, baby. We got to smell that baseball. But listen, I love those guys. I'm rooting for them, and I think they really truly are some of the best talent like in the baseball world right now. For instance, when it comes to comedy and reporting. So, then we got Nick and Joe coming nipping at their heels now. So it's a crowded field.
Let's hope so. No doubt about it. Scott, we always give our guests here the last words. If there's anything else you'd like to share with our listeners, go right ahead. Thanks again for doing this with us.
Well, I appreciate that. I wish Adnan were here. Maybe we can get Adnan to put this in post, Nick. So I'll start it, and you can get Adnan to record it. Day without baseball is a day wasted.
There you have it.
That's it. Maybe Adnan could come in and finish that, or leave it as is. Whatever you want to do. Mix it up.
Also, Scott, I hope we get the return of running late one day. You got to get Adnan on the show, of course. And
for sure.
You talk movies.
And you.
All right.
Get you guys on there.
Sounds
it's a big
good.
circle jerk. A circle jerk with a circle Virk.
So we want to thank our special guest, of course, Scott Rogowsky, who stuck around the whole time. The Virk horse, Adnan Virk, who big time us. But we do appreciate both of these guys for coming on. And for Joe Calabrese, I'm Nick Durst, and this has been episode 100 of You Know I'm Right.
Stick around. We'll see you tomorrow.
No.
Yes.